All right, hello, hello, hello. How's it going there, Thermite? Good to see you. We'll see why Restream's not sending your chat over here, but let's go ahead and doing some workshop and go ahead and work on some builds. So one thing I want to do is presently my mining truck will not go through the tunnel. So let's actually go over here. I want to get my mining truck in the tunnel. I'd like to play some career on my days off here, and so try to get this going. All right, so here's the articulated dump truck. Let's go give it a look of what the space is. Now, this will be good for some of the bigger mines, but presently it is too tall. See why game volume. The game did it again, huh? Where it's not doing volume, huh? I might do a reboot. Yeah, it's not showing any volume here. I'm going to do a quick reboot. And I'll talk about what we're going to do here in a minute. But so anyways, this mining truck, we have that tunnel that goes in and out. And so part of the point here is a quick ability to go back and forth. And we kind of lose that because this dump truck can't go through the tunnel. So what I'm kind of thinking is we'll go ahead and we'll try to do... That could be wide too. Trying to disconnect my Bluetooth speaker. That might have been why the audio... I would say that's probably more the audio issue. Okay, good. I just test. That was me testing the music real quick to make sure the music's working. It is, so that's fine in the game. All right, good. So that's loading up. So they have some underground mining trucks, and I'm trying to find. So I can show you the pictures of them. So yeah, so if we look at these pictures here, you can kind of see how the cab is very low, and that allows it to get into tighter spaces. So that's what I'm kind of looking to do here. And so we have this mining truck, and what we're going to do is I think we're just going to try to shorten it down a little bit. And so if you notice, the cab and the engine are in front of the axle. And so we should be able to do that pretty reliably to get that moved down. And then we get, it'll be a little bit lower for us. So shouldn't need too much work. And then we'll drop the back, just some of the covers on that. So essentially we'll move most of this ahead of the axles. Think of the best way to do this. Let's see. How much headspace do we have in here? None. Okay. So the cab, and now that nearly needs to go forward. Let's see. So we'll see if we can just tear this apart and kind of move it forward and not cause too much ruckus. All right. Alright, that's looking pretty good there. Alright, so that's kind of the fender wells. That's looking pretty good there. I gotta make sure all the mechanics are gonna work here. So we've got transmission got moved. That's fine. Let's move that transmission forward. That used to go in the top there, so that can all bleed out. Alright, so that's reconnected. That's pretty good. Alright, so that's good. That drops it down a bit. Why is my chat not working right? Let me fix that. How's it going there, Rasmus? How's it going there, Jay? Let me respawn chat, see what's up. I'm about ready to just like stop using Restream and use YouTube. I'm about done with Twitch too. Let's see, 558. That's the capacity. And two. What's that? One, two, one, two. Okay, that's good. And then we'll take off the top of that and move that down. I have to go down two, so let's do this. Alright, let's go take this for a quick test, see if it will run out to the, something's colliding. Yeah, and this one, like, the people are like, okay, physics sucks. It's like, obviously, I did something wrong. It's like, blaming the game is stupid. It's like, I don't get it. I don't have a physics flutter, and there's something that's colliding. I'm try to figure that out. Alright, so it's right there. You can see where the problem is. It's a connection problem here. And so that's what's causing it. You can see. So, gotta figure out that. So it's these two grabbing each other instead of grabbing here. And so let's look. See how these aren't merged together? They can't be merged together. Those can't be merged. These are and can. Alright, so we gotta see where that's grabbing. So it's this one here trying to grab over there instead of grabbing where it's supposed to be, which is right here. So it's grabbing this one. So what we can do is we can do a real quick microcontroller here. So essentially what we want to do is we want to say that these cannot attach until these are attached. So makes it really simple. It's essentially putting a hierarchy in, and let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, that's the stuff that kind of annoys me when you see people like, oh, game physics sucks. It's like, what do you want them to do? Code for every weird shit thing that you put in your build? Like, they can't do that, you know? So instead, like, understanding that you have two connectors that are trying to connect, and it's trying to drag the build somewhere. Well, normally what would happen? Of course, you wouldn't have these magic magnet things, but two, you know, they'd be pre-connected, and then three, you know, there would be IRL, they would break if they got too much force. Well, we don't have that in game, so what it's doing is it's putting a force on something, and it has no ability to break it. And so what happens? The build spins because it's putting so much force in the rotary axis. You know, you see a ton of games do that. It's not a stormworks thing. Let's see. Lift, port, lift, star. All right, so let's go ahead and update this, and then let's look at the connectors. So these two connectors, we look at the colors here. These are on the same plane. They're this green, so these cannot go in and out, and that's what was causing the rotary force. Is these are not allowed to bend. These are allowed to bend, and they have a pipe in between them, so they can't try to cross connect. So they're trying to go the path of least resistance, which is this connect where I want it, this connect where I want it. The problem is this will shoot out and then connect to this, and it was pulling this one too far away. This one's also attached to this one, so it causes a rotary motion. So what we want to do is, these are reliant, because these can freely slide in and out, we want these to connect first. These are pretty short. They're not going to cause too much ruckus for the fraction of a second, so these cannot connect until these are connected. So if we look, I'll try to find it here. So here is the connector right here, right? So here's a connector, and that says connected, and that's release connector. So what we want to do is, if this one is not connected, so let's go to lift port, and then this one here is going to be lift starboard, and then, so they're not backwards, I'm going to do that. All right, so if we look now, these are connected. This is how my, for example, my locking system works on my, it's how the locking system works on my, what do you call it, my helipad. So, for example, on the helicopter, it has, you know, let's say the helicopter, it has two connectors. One on the port side, one on the starboard side. On the pad, it has two connectors. One on the port side, one on the starboard side. Right, so I only want the port to connect to the port and the starboard to connect to the starboard, or you get a problem where the port connector would grab the starboard connector on the helicopter, on the landing pad. Now you have to disconnect and move over again. And so what it does is it's giving you one magnet to orient first. And so as soon as the left connector on the helicopter connects to the left connector on the pad, then it allows the right connectors to go. So it says, hey, only connect my lefts. Once the lefts are connected, then you can connect the rights. And that's essentially what we're doing. Once these are connected, then it allows these to connect. All right, and so what we do here is go in here. All right, so we've got steer, port, and starboard. These are going to be outputs. All right, and so we're going to come up with a little logic that says, hey, until the lifting connectors attach, you cannot connect the steering connectors, right? And these are releases. So what we do is it's real simple. We just put a knot in there. So if the port connector is not connected, release the port steer. All right, and you do the same here, and that makes it so that your lifter is going to connect first, and then your steers can connect. So, just simple logic to make it so that not all the magnets can randomly connect to each other. They connect in the order you want them to connect. All right, so here's the release on port. So this is all turned sideways here. Lift port, lift star, okay. I gotta go in there. I want to get this set up so it's sitting right. All right, star, star, port like that. All right. All right, so that's starboard. This one's gonna be port. All right, so those report if they're connected. Then here's the port that will release it until they are connected. All right, so see how that just fixed it? So until these connect, these cannot connect. Now we have issues, as you can see that, and it still looks like they're too far away. What is going on here? So see how this one's acting up? This one is acting up because it's actively connected to this other one. And so you notice how they're moving back and forth, and that's causing the rotary force. This is how people make glitch drives for things. All right, let's see what's up with these. I didn't think this was happening on the other one, so I gotta look and see what's up. All right, you want to make sure the max power is 0, so there's no resistance on these. I gotta check the geometry. These should be able to slide back and connect. Okay, so what's likely happening is when you get two connectors too close to each other, they're still putting a force on one another, as you can see. So what we can do is try to redo some of the geometry of this to get this. See how close they are? This one is not connected, is it? Is this one connected? Yeah, see, I didn't think I was having this issue before, so we're going to work some stuff out here. All right, so what we'll do is it's likely a proximity problem. I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to move it forward. And we'll see if this fixes it. We might even, if we can fix this with proximity, we can get rid of that microcontroller. But as with most things, you know, there's a couple ways to fix this stuff. All right, that's good. And then we want to cut out, get a little bit of symmetry going here. This is probably a better way to do it too. But yeah, so much is just like taking the time to learn how the blocks work. You know, connectors have one of the strongest forces in the game, and it's for a good reason, right? So when you get close to whatever you're operating, the connector is able to quickly snap to it. All right, so see how there's no phantom force? That's not jittering around, and that's because they were just too close to each other. So this one was still trying to reach over there, and now by putting that 2-block gap in there, now we have more space and it's not acting up. So we should be able to actively get rid of that microcontroller. I really wish my chat was going where it's supposed to be, but all right, so a little bit of a redesign. It took all of 10 seconds, didn't destroy the look of anything, and now it's working. So instead of getting frustrated by like starting to learn and understand why the things do what they do, you can easily solve these problems, and it's not the end of the world. That is a symmetry block there. We'll fix. But, you know, I get new players' frustration, especially that they get in here and they don't understand these things of how the blocks are working. But, you know, you can often skip that frustration stage by going and asking some people who, you know, have some experience. And before you get frustrated, that's part of the problem is people go ask for help once they're already pissed off and frustrated. And so now you're bringing that frustration to somebody who's trying to help you. And that quickly, that person can be like, well, screw this. I've got other things I want to do today. I want to go play. Why am I bothering to help this person? And that's, you know, so try to get that help before you start getting too frustrated, you know. A lot of people like to share their passion for this game, and it's like, go ask them early. You know, don't bring that frustration in, because as soon as somebody gets frustrated and it's more aggravation than it's worth, people are going to say, screw it. You know, this guy's being grouchy. I'm not going to deal with him, you know. How did that get chopped off? Oh, I never moved it. That's why. All right. All right, so we're hitting on the lights on top. So that's an easy fix. These lights just need to move. And all they're doing really is their back work lights. I don't, all right, that's good. So these are the only thing that are hitting here. And what we can actually do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I got on there. All right, good. All right, how's it going? I said hi to Jay and Rasmus. Hi, Zachy. Good to see you, Zachy. I haven't seen you in a while, Zachy. How are you? Good to see you, G. How are you? Good to see you. Ergiti, what's up? How are you? Good. All right, so now this has that shorter stance. We still have plenty of space. I can drop down some more of the back stuff if we need to. I just need to barely fit in there. I drive pretty carefully anyway. As long as you're not driving like a maniac, you should be fine. Now, if you hear the engine stuttering, right? See the RPS is stuttering? That is I'm pretty sure that's a glitch, because like you can go in there and delete all your engine components, put them in new ones, and it'll fix it. And I would say that's got to be something with like the order of operations you're putting your engine in. And since I took it out and merged it, but it's not causing too many problems right now. So if it does, I'll just delete out, you know, the crankshafts, the engine parts, put them all back in there. It takes literally seconds, and then you're good to go. All right, good. So we're in. This fits now. Again, this was designed ideally to be open pit, and so now we've kind of designed this to be underground, so it's got that lower roof height. It's also only when it hits the rev limiter, so it could just be getting in a loop, and maybe I could tune that pit a little bit better, but we'll see what's up. Because it's not a huge deal. You just see its little stutter. It's a little bit obnoxious. This will have a low front bumper, but like the ones I was looking at for real coal mining have a pretty low front bumper as well. Just got to take it easy. But now you can see how much quicker. So what is the deal with this? Okay, so I haven't seen those other trailers before in here. That's interesting. I think that was a great addition by the devs. I just wish that it would be easier to toggle those off and that they would be, they didn't have that standard, because I don't like using that standard. I prefer, like, I've got air brakes in my trailers, and I've got hydraulics, you know, simulated hydraulics using the pressure update. So, all right, so we know this works. And this is the 558-L. All right, we're going to save it. I'm trying to fix some of the names of this stuff. All right, mining. Dump. 558L. All right, now let's find the other one. All right, so let's spawn this one, see if we have an issue. All right, so this one is not having that grabbing issue. It looked like, I don't know what happened, how that got closer. But if this one ends up having that grabbing issue, we know. Oh, I grabbed the L again, that's why. Grabbed the wrong one. All right. It's this one. So now you see how this one has, they're closer. Let's see if this one gets that grab issue. It doesn't. I'm not sure why. It could be just where we move different blocks could be the problem. Like some of these might have some level of magnetism. It could be mass. Mass often has an effect on that. Where the mass is gives you more inertia, essentially. So it could be any of those factors. So like when you're like, oh, it works in this build, but it doesn't make sense. It could be you change the mass by pushing it forward. This body now has more mass. It might cause it to articulate right off the bat, and now because it articulated, it's not connecting correctly. So, you know, not a big deal. All right, good. So this is now good. All right, so I'm going to save this. All right, so that's the 558. L is for low. All right, good. So those are done. I really wish I could get the chat up over here and not have problems, but that's likely an OBS problem too because YouTube. I'm gonna try to sign in restream on the PC and see why. I'm about ready to stop using restream and just go to YouTube. It's showing the YouTube on there, so we'll see if it grabs at some point. I can read the chat over there. How's it going there, Daniel? Good to see you. All right, good. So we now have because you know I'm probably gonna do career later today. I'll do a stream on that, and so I wanted to be able to get into mining again. And so we really need to cut down the mining time. And so a big part of cutting down that mining time is by going through the tunnel, we can more quickly get back and forth. And that the speed of being able to do that really helps us to make coal mining viable, because it's only worth about $2 per ore. So having to drive out of the underground is in here, so you'd have to drive out of the underground, and you have to go through the tunnel, which is here, somewhere here. Come out, and then you go down and you despawn it. So it's like through here, and then down, mine, come back. That's not bad. The other way you have to go is you have to go all the way around here and down to go in. And so you see how that's a huge time sink for not a very valuable commodity, and that starts making it not all that profitable. And so kind of want to make sure we cut that part out so that it's viable and profitable. All right, let's look at some builds. We're gonna do the workshop here first, get some builds going, work on some stuff. All right. Articulated dump truck. Okay, so this is the bed of this that I used. So trying to get some of my naming schemes fixed. This thing I could probably just get rid of. I don't like deleting stuff all the way out. Made this skid steer last time. It's nice and strong. It's well overweighted. That's part of the issue with it. With the tires. Let's play with this for a second. So if we spawn this, it's got a lot of artificial mass in it. You see how the wheels are through the ground. So I don't like that. So I've been trying to think of some ways to fix it. There's not really many great ways to fix that because I'd have to cut the mass down. I was trying to think of a way to get us a that needs to be in the middle. Like if I could get a caster hidden in there. Because these coaster wheels, whatever they're called, coasters, they don't sink into the ground as readily. So let's try something. So I'm starting to think that we'll have to do some testing with that. So that's one thought. Ooh, actually, we'll go down one more, won't it? Okay, so it does need to go up one. I'm starting to think that these rocket motors, what they're doing is they're not actually using the mass of the fuel at all. What they're doing is subtracting or adding overall mass. And so if that's the case, then it doesn't really matter where I put it. So that's something I have to test. It does not like that at all because it's sitting on that wheel. Okay, it's hitting that gearbox. Okay, good. It's touching the ground now. Yeah, it's hitting there. Yeah, I don't see an easy way to fix this. No, it's doing it. It's doing it in the other base too. We can move over there as well. I see what you're saying. Like it might be hitting and not hitting elsewhere. But how's it going, there, Amanda? How's it going there, Capra Jagowski? How are you? Yeah, 25 months for Amanda being in Captain's Crew. Appreciate that, Amanda. Put that on the recognition page on the Discord. I'm getting real sick of Restream. I gotta fix that, or just get rid of it. All right, let's. Yeah, we'll do the same one in here. Yeah, doing kind of the same stuff. I'm just doing some tests here, see if anything will work. So let's see. See, it doesn't like that at all. All right, so what's it showing the mass as? 466 is what's shown, but then here, let's do this real quick. All right, so here, this is at regular. See, it's sitting way under the ground. That's because that rocket motor has a lot of mass. So it's adding overall mass. I don't know if it's actually directional. Now see, it's sitting correctly. The problem is we need that mass to be able to lift weight. So one thing we're going to check is I may just say screw it because I don't like the wheels. And if we're going to lift this, like a skid steer this size would never be able to lift a full container that much. We talked about how much it was. It's 6,500 liters. It's 0.85 pounds per liter. I know I'm mixing up units, but 6,500 times 0.85 is 5,525 pounds divided by 2.2 is 2,500 kilograms. So it's 2,500 kilograms being put into, being on this, and, that's a lot. Like, I could look up skid steer lift limits, and then if I want to go to smaller wheels, which I don't hate these fives. So like here, let's do this. And so if we just kind of say, all right, let's make this small, tiny little vehicle be able to hold the empty module, which is more realistic. You would move the empty module with the forklift, you would hook it to the helicopter, and then you would fill it up with a hose. That's a more normal use case. So this has none of the rocket motor nonsense. No, I didn't. It does. I didn't. Let's put the. I gotta get rid of fuel. I forgot to take out the fuel. Right. And then diesel spawner to 0. So yeah, you see, it's definitely not lifting the full one. The empty one is pretty damn light. There's not much going on there. So as long as this can lift the empty one, I might just kill the heavy lift one because again, it's not realistic, and mask an unrealistic performance out of it. So what is the empty one weigh? This is, again, this is way too big just size-wise too for a skid steer. We'll make a good, that's one thing we can build next. Let's build a quick and dirty forklift, because forklift, it's going to be a little bit easier to operate some of the stuff. Let's go ahead and we'll load in this, and I'm going to change the rocket motor. So I'm going to see how much rocket motor non-sensory I can put in here before we start to get the wheels going into the ground. And what I'm going to do is save this as let's say fourth. Yeah. All right, and I'll go ahead and I'll change the XML edit on this, and we'll take out some of that mass. Oh, you don't like my palette idea there, Daniel? Oh, unicorn idea. I plan on showing on streams, and I can hear you struggle with the name. The English equivalent is Casper. Thanks, I appreciate it, Casper. Yeah, if I ever like pronounce your name wrong, just give me a nice phonetic, and that way I know what it is. I appreciate it. All right, fuel factor is 4,500. Let's bring that down to 2,500. I'll bring up display cap for you. There's fuel factor 2,500. Let's go ahead and save that. And we will load it up. All right, that's in the ground still. So let's do 1,500. Get distracted by something else. So I'm all over the place here. Okay, thanks for the link, Rasmus. All right. That's still being. I want to make sure I bring up the forks too, to make sure it's not anything with that. So yeah, it definitely looks like what's happening is when you have the rocket quote-unquote glitch, all you're really doing is you're putting more fuel in. So what I'm thinking is happening, we'll do a test here. When you add the rocket, you're adding extra total mass. And I don't know if it actually matters where it is. We'll test that out. Because like we're deleting total mass, and then most of the mass is still biased towards the rear. So yes, it makes sense it's coming to the rear. Fucking ski would go away. That would be helpful. I would love them to come back and make it so that one thing they could add that would be cool is, talked about this before, is the ability to make it so that this square can be colored with the additive paint. So I wish you could go in there with additive paint and then you color it the same color, and then you can't see your weight block. That would be something we've been asking for a while. Okay, that's good. And then that needs to be there. That needs to be there. That's good. Okay. All right, so trying to get CG right about the midline. This was like somebody was asking why you can't use the parts even if you don't have weapons DLC, and this is the reason. Is like I can use it as balance. I have the weapons DLC, but if I didn't, I could use those parts for building. All right, so that's good. That's there. Let's save it, and I'm gonna knock off some more. It's like if we look at the overall mass of this thing, it's 423, so it doesn't weigh that much. And so adding a fuel factor 1,500 is adding a lot. It's adding 3 times, you know, it's just that alone is 3 times the entire mass of the thing. So that's adding a lot of mass proportionally. So, yep, that's still ass biased for some reason. All right, so that's pretty good as it is. I just don't know what this is going to be able to move with being so small. So let's grab one of my default palettes. Let's save this. Anytime I can get a glitch out of there, I'm also happy. Let's grab my palette system. I just want to be able to lift something. This is going to be heavy. That's heavy. So I want something that can carry small stuff. So these should be, I think, full of jet fuel. All right, so good. So it has some utility. All right, good. So that it has some utility. As long as it can do some work, and we'll make a forklift. These are my pallets. These are my default pallets here. All right. That was not helpful to move that like that. Let's see if I can push it over on the forks for now. All right, good. So this has utility. This still will move some pallets, and I will make a bigger, more robust vehicle that moves bigger stuff. And that way it won't be sticking on the ground, and we'll make a proper forklift that could actually lift some of this bigger stuff. All right, good. A couple things I want to fix here. All right, let's go. That's good, and then that's that. I like that, and then All right, these are not full, so that's fine. All right, good. All right, let's read some of this chat here. Remember I tried tracks last time, Rasmus, or did you leave already? You might have left already. I already tried tracks. It wasn't working. Yeah, when I first read it, I thought I was just joking anyway. I just want them to add it. I just don't want too much complicated nonsense. And again, I haven't looked at his system yet. What I would like the devs to do more of is, like, for example, let's bring up a container. Yeah, I was just joking about that. Sorry there, Daniel. Let's look at workshop. I'm sorry, presets. If you look at the presets here for the containers, I think they did this backwards. So right now, you see we have these tracks on here, right? I think they did this backwards, and the reason is if you add a gripper, right, the gripper is what you can lock and use for sliding these on rails, and it's very bulky. So it's 2 blocks tall. Now, if they made that 1 block, it would be irrelevant which one we use. And they did that because they can't stack these nodes, so they have to have it has to be 2 blocks tall for the nodes. So one thing they could do is composite. If they put composite on here, or finally get to the point where they can stack these, they can make these 1 block tall. And so what I think they should have done for the containers is this. So if they came in and redid the containers, now I know it'd piss a bunch of people off. I think it would be for the best. But change it over like this, where it's gripper tracks like this for the container. Now, when we put something, say, in a plane or on the back of a truck or something, the actual block that we need to put on our truck is now 1 block. So it would be these tracks. So now we can put the tracks on there. And that's why my pallet system uses those grippers, is because now on my trucks, on my planes, on my train cars, I only need a 1 tall block to be able to do this. You know, the nice thing is, yes, you can lock it with that, but really all they have to do is add a button, right? Or 2 buttons for lock and release for these tracks, you know? And I think that would be what I would prefer them to do. Yep. Yeah, I might make some different versions. Yeah, I think, you know, the drawback, like you said, is it's a little convoluted, all the things for the containers. I think the benefit of it is that it makes it so that, you know, you want to hold it with a hard point, you can hold it with a hard point. You want to pick it up with ropes, you can do that. Connectors is like kind of the old way. And part of the thing is, you know, the devs, for good reason, are scared to death of breaking anything that would then make it so people's builds don't work, because that frustrates people who they had a bunch of builds for containers and now they have to change every build and they get frustrated. So they added things like the old containers used to not have these hard points on there, of course. They were out before that. So they added those so that, hey, you want to hook it, you want to connect it with hard points, you can do that. You know, so that's why I think, you know, they got a little bit convoluted. All right. All right, let's see if we can do a forklift. So let's start a new build for a forklift. And so the first thing I like to do is proof of concepting. Where's my zinc? There it is. Let's see if we like this color better for building. I kind of like the purple, but this is zinc chromate color. This is the primer you'd have in airplanes. So if you look in airplane wings, you often see zinc chromate. Let's see. Yeah, so like if you look in airplanes, where the primer is, like that's the zinc chromate. And so oftentimes inside some of the compartments is still zinc chromate because there's no need for them to finish paint it, right? So they would do zinc chromate for corrosion resistance. And if you look, like, see inside the wing spars, it's zinc chromate everywhere. So I think I might make that kind of my new color for building. But all right, so we'll start with proof of concepting. That's going to be the first step for the forklift. I'm going to look at some forklift pictures. I think one thing that helps with visuals in this game is because of the blocky nature of the game, you try to make something look too sleek, it's going to be, you're going to need a ton of XML in, or it's going to be a struggle, where if you kind of go in blocky to start with, it's going to look right in game. And so a lot of the industrial builds tend to look more realistic because they're already blocky, so that helps a lot. All right, we have this. Well, let's try something too. I like this is good and blocky. This is good and blocky. Let's first try to see if can't convert a build. I think that actually I've got a build in mind instead of rewriting it, because like I always think these things are gonna take 5 seconds and they take forever. So we have this one already made. And it lifts, this one lifts cargo containers. Instead of rewriting the, reinventing the wheel here, let's just go start with this for now. All right, good. So we got that, and then I need to kind of reconfigure to be able to slide these. So I want to be able to slide these independently and also together. let's do this. That way we'll have fork readjustment on there. Release. That's forklift micro. All right, let's find that. All right, so we have brake light, linear track, panels. That's linear track left, right. So this is for the slides. Let's just quickly just hook that up for these. So instead of me going and making a completely new build that takes me 4 hours to make. All right, forks in, forks out, down. That's forks up. So up, down, in and out. That is connector right. So that's going to be the forks. All right, so that's good. What was the space? 3 in the middle. Okay, that's good. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's bring in the full fuel module here. Okay, so I need to go down 2 more to get that to grab right. Why won't that go down further is the question. Did I not just put those? Okay, what's going on? Oh, they're pushed out one. I got them back 1 block too far. All right. Yeah, again, like I think a big part of the game that would be benefited from some miniaturization. So anything that's too big, like those grippers, would be a great addition to make smaller versions of them. So like something this size would be more likely to be able to do what we're trying to do here, which is, you know, pick something this big. Like the skid steer is pretty silly trying to carry that much, but like something like this should be able to carry that much fuel. And so we see we got some bend going on because of the weight. So we can get rid of that bend by adding more linear tracks, more grippers. Because like it's got a single failure point, which is not good. So what we want to do is go try this. Right, that's good. And then we want to add this one's the sideways one, and this one is the vert. All right, so now you see there's no real bending there. And so this one easily carries, like this one easily picks up multiple containers. So that's not a lot of weight for this. So this is more what should be carrying something this big. So yeah, instead of completely reinventing the wheel and building a new forklift, and this one, like, there's no glitchery going on here. The grip, it might have grip tires, but it doesn't have grip mass on it. And then we just need to make it so that that will connect. So we have function buttons here. Let's see, function 3, 4, 5, 6. What do we got here? So that's detach. It's got electricity. So that should now work the magnet. The mag-all. There we go. All right, so it's working on detached logic, so we got to play with that. But all right, good. So I'm going to save this, and then we've got this in our back pocket if we need it for moving this. So this is good for the weight. I'll catch up in some chat. All right, so that's good. We got most of that done. Does the forklift have 2 simple rails to move on +1? Yeah, so I'll show you. So that's so when you have, so this is the brake. So the linear tracks, they will slip and get a little weak. So this one you can apply the brake, and that will, it helps keep the alignment so that these don't get pulled out of alignment by using this one. Then this one, because it's sideways, it will try to grab on and hold on tight. So this is your lock. So this is your lock, and this one is adding rigidity and stability to it. as it's going up and down. So these will sometimes bind up in their linear tracks. This helps prevent that binding. And then this one here will actually lock it in place so that the linear tracks don't have to hold the weight. And you don't have to keep putting an electrical signal to it. So that's what it's doing. All right, good. So we got a forklift going there. I'm going to probably grab a quick coffee. I kind of want to restart, trying to get the chat over here, but I don't care. I'm not going to do that. Let's go ahead, because I should be able to close down, bring it back up, but I'm not going to do that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to just grab some quick coffee, and then we'll figure out what we want to work on next. All right, be right back, guys. Alrighty, let's see. We got forklift's kind of done. So part of the thing here is I want to get back into the career game. So I'm trying to get a bunch of the stuff done that I need to be able to get going on the career game. One thing could be more modules for a helicopter. That's a thought. Let's look. We've got a bunch of career build series builds that need working here. Try not to get too far into the weeds. So one is the seaplane. Do a little bit of work on the seaplane. Let's take a look at the seaplane real quick. So this is going to be the our seaplane for the career build series. Just put in the autopilot in there. It flies fine. Everything works on it fine. It's got a bunch of crap hanging off the side of it at the moment, which is fine. It doesn't really need paint at the moment. We could paint it. But we got a bunch of space in there. I can put micros in later. Works well. I'll be able to do some rescue missions with this. We did just get Draymore as a base. So because of the update, the most recent update the devs did, which was fantastic, as you can see, we can easily shrink all these panels up. It's one of the best updates they've done in a while, because this really, you can just see how much more compact all this can be. At some point, I would like to make all of my own panels for my screens, so I'm not relying on Basilicious's panels as much as I like them. I would like to make more of a PFD. Alright, that's good. Need to reconnect a ton of nodes because every time you move them, but most of them are probably physics sensors I moved. And then video. Okay, that one is altimeter. That should be VSI. It's heading indicator. Alright, and then what's that one? That should be airspeed. Alright, good. So those are all set. Alright, so I think we'll throw a coat of paint on this so I don't feel as goofy flying it around and I'm more inclined to use it. And I'm trying to get in the habit of, kind of like I was doing last build series, where I can add to things slowly so that I can do a little bit of building in the build series, but keep most of it to the workbench here, or workshop. Alright, so let's get a coat of paint on this. Let's see. That's a cool color. I'm trying to think. I'm kind of using some Grum and Goose colors here. The shape is, you know, the kind of those old ones had some cool colors. So let's look. So, kind of looking at some, kind of like a burgundy would be interesting. If I can get a burgundy to show up all right in game. This is a cool color. I like that. Brown nacelles with kind of a beige and a brown stripe. I'm digging that. That's kind of cool. I'm liking that a lot. That this one's kind of neat, but I think let's play with this color here, brown. Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll see see what we can get there. Let's go ahead and paint up. So we'll do a brown stripe. I've got a bunch of cream colors that are pretty good. And that way, when we want to play some career with this, it's a little bit more. I'm trying to get some of the vehicles for it kind of set up. The nacelles, the brown as well. Let's find a cream color we like. This is where it becomes problematic because the dash starts getting colored in, and I don't like that. Okay, so these, I thought that was a 2x. It's not a 2x, so I can fix those with paint blocks. That's fine. Alright, let's see. Again, probably cream for these, and then brown for the pylons, or the pontoons rather. I don't want to plain fill that. That's a good one to get screwed up. All right. See how we like that paint job? I like it. It's not bad. I need some texturing, but that's a pretty good paint job. All right, let's go back and check chat because again, my chat's not working right. All right, good. Good. So that's starting to look better. Put together. There you go. I think that's looking pretty good. You can see the zinc chromate in the engine nacelles now. I kind of like that. I gotta clean up some of that, but that's pretty good. Good. I like that. That's some good work on that. You don't know what to make on stormworks. I would say just let me see. Just try to figure out what you're trying to accomplish. Make a goal for yourself. Move some containers. Then you need to get all the parts to move containers. You build an airplane. Well, do you want some tugs to move the airplane around? What's the job of it? Come up with tasks you're trying to create. Like a lot of people are like, oh, there's nothing to do. There's everything to do. It's a sandbox. Just come up with what you want to do and then make the vehicles to do that. It's not really challenging. If you want to go do some missions, a lot of the missions are out in the ocean. You need a boat. Go build a boat. Start there. Start simple. All right, let's see. I want to look through some of the builds, and we'll see what we need for to be able to do the career gameplay, and I might switch up and start playing some career. We've got our plane going here. That's one thing we've got. We've got our plane, we've got our helicopter, we've got some new mining equipment. We've got the forklift, we've got the skid steer, we've got a bunch of good stuff here. So ideally I want to take the coal, if I do some coal mining. What we might do is, I don't know how long it's going to take. I haven't played with the new flexible ducts much yet. We've got the large loader. I forget what the cost of that is. We've got this. So this mining harvester semi is something we could use. Because what I need is something a little less active so that I can, because I have to run my trips back and forth to be able to go and make it worth my while because I need huge quantities of coal. Let's put it that way. I need huge quantities of coal in a career game to make it worth my time because it's only $2 per ore. So let's try something real quick here. I want to see what fits in here. So if we have like a more stationary miner or something I can quickly keep it mining while I'm out doing trips. So the Mac R should fit in the tunnel. All right, here's high tip. That's the high tip. High tip is beneficial because I can dump it right into trains, waiting train cars. And this is that's the high tip 45. So this is, let's see what the hopper level is. I think they're 225 a piece, right? I'm just going to fill it. Makes it easier than counting out the blocks. This one will dump right into train cars. Yeah, 225 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. So that's going to be 2250. So 2250, that's is going to be $5,000 of ore per trip. Yeah, so that's $5,000 of ore per trip. So we could use that. So the high tip, it tips from the back. It raises the back up, and it will dump it into train cars. Yeah, that's a good point by Erasmus. Sometimes it's hard to find inspiration. Sometimes there's too much inspiration. Absolutely. There's a frameless dump. So yeah, those will fit in the tunnel. So I've got those vehicles I can use for transporting, and then this is one of the vehicles I used for mining before was this. It's a harvester semi. So what you do is you go ahead and you bring that trailer with you. You drive around harvesting, and then you drop the trailer and the truck will run off. Now with me playing by myself, I'm still engaged the whole time doing everything. I'm gonna have to drive this around. That's fine. Yeah, so I'm just trying to find all the vehicles we need, and then I want to keep building here for a little bit. So let's look at our boat. Let's get out of here, and we'll go look at our boat for the career game, and let's try to button that boat up, because I'm going to use the tugboat when I need to do some more, like, longer missions. So here is so this is the current iteration of the boat, and so maybe I'll screw around some lure for a minute. So let's figure out what this boat needs and to kind of clean it up. All right, so if we look at our gauge situation here, we've got right RPS, left RPS. So let's go ahead and we'll start making some Lua panels for this, and we'll see how long that ends up taking me. All right, so we've got Mr. Lennon's in here. And I'm thinking... All right, so let's... so some things we need here. for our, let's do a boat, Lua. All right, and so need some, so this is twin screws, usually what I have. So I want speed and knots. I want depth. I want compass. I want RPS or M, probably M. RPM. So let's start seeing if we can't get all that where I want it. So start with text box here. We'll do 3x4 there to make it smaller. So speed and knots. And I'm going to look at some just kind of looking for colors here. All right. Kind of know the color scheme I want. So let's see. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be off-centered a little bit. And then let's see. There's 40 knots in there, and then all right, let's see. That's so what we're trying to do here is that I've got knots and then heading, and then I'm gonna put some autopilot functions on this one screen. This could be our readout. Let's make this our readout, and then we'll do autopilot on a different panel. So that's we need a couple RPM spools here. That's too big. Let's see. If we were at so 3 digits would work. Okay, so we got that works for us. We've got knots, heading, and Port and starboard RPM. Okay, so we'll kind of start with that as our panel. All right. All right, so that's not too bad there with, it's got knots, it's got our heading, and it's got port and starboard. The gray should be grayer, or darker rather. Might be too much. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Alright, that's good there. Let's check that color out if I like it. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Maybe a touch dark, but that works pretty well there, I think. Alright, good. So that looks pretty good. Right, let's save this. Alright, then I think it's this one is the info panel here. So that's the old one. This is the new one. Kind of dig that color, but I'm not sure. But yeah. So I think that's we'll go ahead and stop there. Got a little progress done on that. That's saved up. Let's go ahead and save this. All right, so I made some progress on that. We're gonna go ahead and finish up here, and then I'll stream a little bit later, and we'll do more. We'll do career gameplay. But yes, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you're new and you enjoyed it, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.